So in order to become stronger, you got to identify your weaknesses. So today, 3 things that make you a weak man. And we're going to start from the bottom to the top. Number 3, first thing that makes you a weak man, if you have very limited physical capabilities, that's an obvious sign you're a weak man. So for example, hold on to your horses. This may offend some. Studies say the average man can do between 5 and 10 pull-ups. If you can't give me 5 pull-ups, you need to check your life. You can't give me 10 push-ups, you need to check your life. The average man can't even lift over 200 pounds. Only 17% of men can lift over 225 pounds. The good news about this is that this can change by you eating right, getting to the gym. I'm not going to give you a whole speech on that, but I got a bro. He threw out his shoulder. He pulled his shoulder muscle just opening up a cabinet to get some salt. Why? Because he had no muscle mass. Because this man does no push-ups. He's my dude, don't get me wrong, but he does no push-ups, no kind of exercise.
There's baseball players that have like broke a rib sneezing. Like,
I'm so glad you mentioned this, but let's be clear. An injury from being an athlete as opposed to an injury from you opening a cabinet are 2 totally different things. I said
sneezing.
So we're changing the total subject. But again, if you're an athlete, your injuries are totally different. But let me get to number 2, what makes you a weak man. And thank you for interrupting once again, Mr. GP. We should give you a t-shirt. Thy shalt not interrupt. So 2, what makes you a weak man? If you can't control your emotions. If you can't control your emotions. Now, this can make you a weak person in general. Now, we've all lost control of our emotions at times. We're not saying not to have emotions. I mean, God forbid you lose somebody or you take a loss. Of course, you're going to show emotion. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that drunk uncle who comes to the party and he wants to fight, his neighbors. He wants to fight his family. We're talking about, that baby mama that's bitter, that baby daddy that don't want to see his kids. This is what we're talking about. These people who just lose total control and they take their emotions out on their kids or their spouse. And the most extreme cases are, of course, cases of violence. So if you're miserable and hate your own life to the point where you're going to make other people miserable, this is an extreme loss of emotions. And I'll throw one more thing out there for the dudes. We got to remember that anger is also an emotion. Because when I was younger, I thought it was cool to get angry. I'm getting angry. This is what dudes do, lash out. But I had to fall back and realize that getting angry also clouds the thinking and doesn't allow you to make proper judgments. So we got to check ourselves on that. So that's all of us. But if you're constantly doing it, that can make you a weak person. Definitely weak man. Definitely a weak man. So coming to the number one thing, the number one reason that makes you a weak man. And I want you all to tell me if you agree with me. If you're a certified liar, if you are just a downright dirty certified liar, you are a weak man. Because as Scarface said, all I got in this world is my word, right? We ain't gonna go into details. But what is that? Bro, I've run into a series of people that just feel it necessary to tell me how much money they got in their bank account or in their Robinhood. Like, yeah, man, I just got like $300 there.
You want to talk about your money like that?
Bro, listen to me.
He not talking about me.
Where I come from, you tell somebody you even got a stack in your bank account, you might get tied up. I don't know. Maybe I got PTSD from that. So you ask me how much I got in my bank account. I'm like, well, you know what? Mine's actually at a negative. The way my bank account works, money just keeps going out. So if you ask me, that's where I'm coming with it.
So number one.
Number one is if you're a certified liar, bro. I've had, and this goes for my dudes who are lying to females. I had one of my dudes. He was a compulsive liar. He told one female he had his red BMW outside, and he didn't even drive. And this was a shorty that I knew as bro. This was a shorty I knew as well. And then she hit me later like, "Yo, dude told me he had a red BMW right outside, and I didn't even bother to look because he never had a car." And I'm like, yeah, you gotta go physically touch it.
Oh, she knew he didn't have a car.
No, she didn't check.
Found out.
He said, yo, I got the BMW outside, and she was mad. She didn't open the window shade to make sure there's a BMW outside. She just took his word for it.
Oh, so there never was a BMW outside.
He's just like, it's outside. The ride is outside.
All right. So
I don't know. I kind of feel like, if it's that important to you, you probably should have checked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you really care about
feel you on that one.
But we got
I feel you on that one.
So number one is a pathological liars. Number two is the can't control your emotion, baby mamas. And number three is you can't do push-ups.
Yeah, you can't open the cabinet without hurting yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Limited physical strength.
Look, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna take issue with just the priorities, bro. You're telling me these, in your view, are the top three reasons that someone's a weak man.
This leads to all madness and chaos. This is what I'm telling you.
So I like the emotional one, the control. I think that's a real one. But where does provision come out, man? I think that if you're a man, call yourself a man, and you don't even provide for yourself and or your family if you have one, then you're failing in a lot of different areas, and it probably all comes down to your inability to challenge what life is throwing your way and overcome it. What would you say to that, bro?
So that's what number one covers. So if you are a compulsive liar, that means you're lying to your family, you're lying about your capabilities, you're lying about what you can provide. You're living in a fantasy world. If you're telling the truth, like they say, the truth shall set you free. So provision is going to naturally be a part of that, because that's going to be a discussion. Obviously, how are we paying the rent? How are we going to eat? And if you're truthful, you'll say, hey, I don't make enough to pay all of this by myself. How are we doing it? 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. But if you're a compulsive liar, you'll just throw a little smoke bomb and be like, oh yeah, I got it. Meanwhile, you're throwing all your money away on electronic gambling. Or I think you've got another vice you're throwing your money away
I think you might be combining. I think you might be combining a lot of things into that compulsive liar.
Okay.
Because you can.
Nah, you just don't like the way I flow, in my opinion. But go ahead, Mr. GP.
I mean, if the flow is whack, the flow is whack. But if
but if it's on track, it's on track. That too.
I mean, Silk the Shocker had a deal. That don't mean he was a good rapper. So going back to my point, if you're a liar, that doesn't mean, like being a liar and being a provider are two very different things. I think what C Square is talking about is about being a provider, and you're just kind of throwing that in there with the liar thing. I would agree with the emotional thing. I'll also push back on the physical thing, because there are a lot of people who have been disabled in some way, who have contributed a lot and have done a lot and taken care of families. So yeah, you want to be in good shape. Yeah, you want to do these things. Nothing wrong with being able to do push-ups, pull-ups, and all that. But to say you're a weak man because you can't do that, we're not covering a lot of other areas that men need to be able to do.
No, it covers everything, and you just haven't realized that. And while you try to shoot down this wonderful theory, I'm going to bring you back to reality. Strength is important, and you don't want to take it to the point where you're manhandling or bullying people. You just want to make sure that when you're around, you can pick up the bags. I've seen plenty of men walking around there, women holding all the bags. Now, am I telling you that this is the only way to show you're a gentleman? No. But you can't be weak to the point where people don't feel safe around you. Because what happens then, your drink may become someone else's drink. Your girlfriend may become someone else's girlfriend. And I understand that if you have money, this can make up for a lot of this. However, it can't make up for your personal health. And if we're talking about adding years to your life, this is more important than anything.